What's up, guys? It's Casey Zogelman, aka the Fourth Sanderson Sister, coming at you with another Top 5 video. Or at least, that's what today would have been, but things happened. So, what's up, guys? It's Casey Zogelman, aka the Fourth Sanderson Sister, coming at you with a Hocus Pocus 3 news update. I know. It's been a while. I've had people constantly asking if there was any word, and I had to say no. But, surprise! Thursday, Bette Midler had an interview with a Broadway radio show on SiriusXM in which she spoke briefly about Hocus Pocus 3. Thankfully, Entertainment Weekly did a follow-up article so I can read it instead of embedding video, but I will link the video in the description down below. I'm also going to link this article for you guys. So, Entertainment Weekly. Bette Midler teases Hocus Pocus 3 and potential return to her ridiculous-looking Winifred. Screenwriter Jen D'Angelo previously told EW she was exploring all options for where the story could go, plus she wants more Hannah Waddingham. Bette Midler served up a small morsel of a teaser for Hocus Pocus 3 that's sweeter than Mother's scorpion pie. After Hocus Pocus 3, screenwriter Jen D'Angelo told Entertainment Weekly in October about her early ideas for where the witchy sequel might take the Sanderson sisters, which is the Oscar-nominated actress has revealed a brief tease about her potential return as coven leader Winifred. You guys didn't miss me trying to read things, did you? Now they're kind of talking about a third very gingerly and very gently, Midler said on a recent episode of the Jess Cagle Show, or Cagle Show, however you say it. They're talking about a third. The second was a huge success. The 78-year-old also reflected on her affection for playing Winifred Sanderson, calling the devilish villainess probably the least like me of any character she's ever played. She's the closest thing I will ever get to Shakespeare. She's from the era, from the time of Shakespeare. She really does put it on, and yet she has all the great things you love in a great villain. She's vicious, she's hilarious, she's ridiculous looking, and she doesn't know any of that, Midler said. It goes completely over her head. The iconic actress didn't elaborate further on the third film, though. D'Angelo previously told EW that 8 months ago, the crew was still in the story phase, but that she'd unearthed some potential fun directions for the witchy trio. And I did a video on that 8 months ago, which you can watch by clicking on this thing right here. I'm also pretty sure that we have read everything else. Oh, something else I do want to touch on. Upon its release in September 2022, Hocus Pocus 2 earned positive critical reviews and broke records on Disney+. Yes, we friggin' did! Leading Disney to announce in 2023 that a third film was in the works. Kathy had a good idea that the third one should be animated, Sarah Jessica Parker told EW in a 2022 interview for the second film. That would be cool and a smart idea. It's fun, funny, and could be interesting and innovative like old-fashioned or new animation. Of course, I'd be happy to have a conversation. It just depends on what Kathy and Bette want. HP 1 and 2 are now streaming on Disney. I really thought we were in the clear. I did. I thought we were done. But Disney sees dollar signs and they're talking. So, I've got a lot of thoughts on this. And I just kind of bullet pointed them, so I'm going to be going a little bit freeform on you guys. Which I know you guys enjoy it when I go off on tangents, so get ready for a lot of that! So I appreciate, first and foremost, that they are talking about it, as Bette said, gingerly and gently. This needs to not be rushed. We need to take our time here. But, I mean, she does sound optimistic in her statement about the movie being in talks. This is a good sign that it's likely going to get approved. But there's a reason we also need to not rush this, and we need to think it through. Think it through, people. Think it through! 2 was great. But in some ways, it could have been a little bit better. Mostly where the side characters were involved. Not that I disliked them, because I just didn't get a lot of substance from them. They were there. They were there. They were there. They were doing things to stop the sisters. That was all they were there for. That was their thing. I love everything that the Sanderson sisters did. Everything they did. They could do no wrong. They could do no wrong. The one thing I will say I did not enjoy was that fart joke at Walgreens. That was just stupid. I feel like this franchise is above that humor. So the fact that we did that was kind of a, oh, that wasn't necessary. That wasn't necessary. You're kidding it down just a little too much when you go into that humor range. I don't enjoy fart jokes for the most part. Sometimes they're funny, but sometimes they're not. That's the one thing I will say I wish they kind of got rid of. But we mostly need to work on the side characters for 3, because 2, it was only okay. We had too many of them. There were too many characters to keep up with. There were too many. And we didn't keep up with all of them. And some of them didn't even need to be there at all, because they served no purpose at all. So that's something that needed to be fixed. But there were a lot of good things in 2. A lot of good things in 2. All of them having to deal with the Sanderson sisters, especially that ending. But we'll get to that in a little bit. I have words to say about that. But here's the thing. I'm saying all this for a reason, because enough fans were disappointed in 2 that they're already slamming talks of a 3rd one. Like, that faction is already kind of like, maybe we don't need to do this, because I didn't like 2. You cannot like 2. I loved 2. Some things needed to be better, but I loved 2. I don't think that's the way we need to be going. I'm scared of a 3rd one. Oh, Lord, am I scared of a 3rd one. I don't think anything on this earth could scare me more. No editing me. Not even those guys. Not even those guys. A 3rd one scares me. A 3rd one scares a lot of people. It scares a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people are already slamming it. But some of them are just being mean. Like those who keep saying it was too woke. I'm sorry. If you think 2 was too woke, you are clearly not from this fandom, are you? You are from somewhere else, coming into our territory in disguise, going, yes, I am part of this fandom. Don't look at me, I'm not suspicious. But it wasn't woke. It wasn't woke. Especially, like, I think a lot of people referred to that in the Sanderson Sisters costume contest with the drag race people who made cameos. That's normal in this fandom. The LGBTQIA community is a big reason Hocus Pocus is as popular as it is today. So, if you don't like that, that's your problem. But that's neither here nor there, really. I mean, those are more of the folks who are going, we don't need a 3rd one, the 2nd one was too woke, I didn't like it. Well, that's your problem. A lot of us did like it, but even some of those who were disappointed with 2, and this impresses me to no end, because lately all I have seen is toxicity, because, you know, Star Wars. Star Wars has always been a cesspool, but it's getting worse. It's getting so much worse. Thanks to the Acolyte, which, is fine. But, there are people who didn't like Hocus Pocus 2 that are like, well, maybe 3 will be better. They're not completely writing off a 3rd one. They're kind of like, yeah, it might be okay. It might be better than the 2nd one for me. It might be worse. We don't know that. So the fact that there is still some positivity from even the naysayers that's pretty good. That's pretty telling about how much this fandom means to people, how much these movies and these characters mean to people. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm just scared. Because there's a little part of me that's like, oh my god, let's do this a third time. Let's go. We're gonna see our girls again. I'm so excited. But there's this little voice in my head over here going, this is a really bad idea. And that little voice is getting louder every single day. But that said, it is still currently in talks. But the fact that Bette knows something like that is happening, I think it might be moving forward just a little bit faster than we were anticipating. I'm already kind of like, I'm going to be popping out more than one video a week again, aren't I? This is going to be fun. But my advice to those who didn't like 2, but are cautiously optimistic about 3, and to anybody else who's excited about 3, and to myself, because I'm scared, keep your expectations low. Pessimism saves lives, just so you know. Too many people were expecting in 1993 in 2022, and guess what, guys? That didn't happen, and it won't happen. That ain't happening anymore. Things have changed. You will not be getting 1993 even if this comes out in 2027. Because it's not 1993 anymore, and movie companies have changed how they do things and how they cater to people, much to the chagrin of a lot of the movie-going audience. But that's okay. Progress is a good thing. It's a good thing. Just so everyone knows. There are some things that, yes, I wish they would kind of leave the way they are. But other things that people comment about being too woke, those are good things. Those are good things. When they're done right. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And I've seen a lot of wrong ways to do it rather than the right way to do it. A good example of a right way to do it, watch How to Get Away with Murder. That's a right way to do it. Anyway, I'm digressing. But honestly, I really am glad it's still just kind of being talked about, like she said, gently, gingerly. It's coming up in talks, but it's not, like, at the forefront just yet, or at least as far as I know it's not at the forefront just yet, but Bette saying this in an interview, she knows they're talking about it. They may have already talked to her about this. They may have already said something to her. They may have already said something to the other two. I'm not gonna speak for them because I do not know. I do not know, and I have no way of finding out. And even if I did, I wouldn't be telling you guys because that would be breaking an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, so we're not doing that. I don't know how far along they are in their talks, but I really feel like it's moving along a little bit more than I was expecting it to be. But that said, we still haven't gotten, a whole lot of updates from Jen. I follow her on Instagram. Most everything she's talked about is the strikes and Quiz Lady, for the most part. So I don't know if she's still even working on it. But that said, it seems like the 3 of them are up for doing it. SJP clearly is all for doing a 3rd movie as long as Bette and Kathy say, let's do it. This is a good thing because out of everyone I could see dropping out of the story and being recast, she was honestly at the highest on my list because she is so busy. She is so busy. If you follow her on Instagram, there are times I have just looked at her schedule of things she has done in a week and I'm like, you are making me tired. How do you sleep ever? I mean, I'm impressed with her work ethic and I think that's great and I love her. She's a wonderful human. But I'm just like, Jesus, woman, do you ever sleep? So that's good that she seems all for it as long as the other 2 are all for it. Great! Keep the band together. We don't need to break up the team. Don't split the party! We don't need to split the party. But that said, the animation thing could be a possibility. Will it be animated like Kathy suggested? This could honestly be fun. It could be fun, and it would be a great way to do, to bring back the old cast, the new cast, the Sanderson sisters. It would be a really good, almost easier way to do that. But animation worries me for one specific reason, and that is the designs of the Sanderson sisters. Because too many artists make them uglier than they really are, and honestly, that is really freaking annoying. It's really annoying to me. Like, I get it. They're not supposed to be beauty queens or anything, with the exception of Sarah, because Siren, but it really bothers me how they really try to just uglify them. At least the official stuff. I mean, need we bring this abomination up again? You know what? Get rid of that. I don't even want to see it. But that's the one thing that scares me, is how they would design them. Because they're all three quite pretty. And illustrators can fight me in the street over that one. But they're all fairly attractive. And I don't think they're horrible eyesores like that just showed us. So that scares me a little bit. But apart from that, animation may not be the worst thing. However, it might have the Stuart Little 3 effect, you know, where the first one was live action with a little animation because of the mouse, second one was live action with a little animation because of the mouse and the bird, and then the third one was randomly animated, and you know what, it was actually really bad. It's actually not very good. I didn't enjoy that movie. I watched it once. I don't remember anything about it other than suddenly we're animated, and yeah. That's all I remember. I think Wayne Brady was in it, and I love Wayne Brady, but I think he was in it. I don't know. It existed. So that kind of worries me, because when you take something from doing live action to animation, sometimes it don't go like you want it to. And then you end up with Stuart Little 3. But a lot of this, and I mean a lot of this, rides on scripts. Which one's the best? Does this work with the other two movies? Will fan service, this is a big one. I'm going to pause on this one. Will fan service be more prevalent or less so than the second movie? Here's the thing about fan service. It can be a good and a bad thing. It can be a good and a bad thing. Some fan service is fun. I have enjoyed some fan service. I enjoyed a lot of the fan service in Hocus Pocus too, but there were points where I do think it was excessive. I do think it was excessive sometimes. Like the little touches in Gilbert's shop where they had t-shirts. That was great. The costume contest, honestly, that was fun. I really liked that. That was for us. That was for the fans. But it was also kind of like, you know, in the first movie, everybody was terrified of those three coming back, and now we're celebrating these child-eating witches? I don't know. In-universe, it makes less sense. Out here, makes perfect sense. But in-universe, makes a little less sense. But I did like the costume contest. I think it's great. But there were some people that were kind of like, this is a little too meta. So, I don't know. I think there were points in the second one where the fan service was just a little too much. And we might need to pull it back just a little bit. My brother, it broke his brain when Winifred flew up to the window of the boys on the sofa watching the scene from the first movie of Gary Marshall and Penny Marshall. That blew his gourd, and not in a good way. He was like, I don't like that. He's like, things have gone too meta for me. I didn't think it was the worst thing, because I like that they did include them, but I could see where he's coming from. I think they were trying to play it off as this is a sitcom that people watch in this universe, which I buy. And I do like that nod, but I think the nod for those two was almost too much. I love them both. They are absolute legends. Laverne forever. But yeah, it was a little, that kind of took you out of it for a minute. So I think the fan service may need to just dial it back a little bit in the third movie. Make it more in universe instead of out of universe. with the meta humor. But apart from that, that's fine. Fan service can be a tricky thing, though. Little touches, like the devil and the angel costumes that they had during the candy apple line thing, that was a good touch. It's a great tribute to them. And then they took it just a little too far. But that's okay. But here's the thing about fan service, and it goes into, is Jen even still working on this? I think she is, but we haven't heard otherwise. And we haven't heard if she really is still, because she hasn't said anything about it. And it's quite possible that she can't say anything about it, but it does worry me that we haven't heard anything about her working on it, or even little teases here and there. Because she was the last one to speak about this until Thursday. So, is she still writing it? And if she's not, who is? Is David Kirshner taking back over? Are we getting Mick Garris back? Like, what are we doing here? Who would write the third one if not Jen? I liked Jen's story. There were some things that could have used a tweak. But it wasn't all bad either. She did a great arc for the Sanderson sisters. Like, that... Whew. If that was how I was going to do one, it would have been close enough. That was primo. That was very good. It was very good. If David Kirshner was to take over, let's just, for the sake of saying he would take the script back over, I think we definitely go back into more dark territory, which a lot of people do want. And I also agree that it needs to be a little bit darker. 2 didn't feel like there was as many life-threatening stakes, if that makes sense. The stakes didn't feel as life-threatening, even though, I mean, it was kind of worse. But there was no, like, intimacy between the heroes and the villains. They were not facing each other through most of the movie. So that there was kind of a divide between this half and this half, whereas the first one, wherever the kids were, the Sanderson sisters were not far behind them. So I think if we're going to do that, we need to have the Sanderson sisters front and center with the other half, smoosh them together, and do like we did the first time. More intimacy between the heroes and the villains, or however we're going to do it. That brings me to, will the OG trio be back to fight again? Will they fit into the script somewhere? I feel like they need to fit into the script somewhere at this point. Otherwise, we're going to turn into the Star Wars fandom, and I don't want that. We are the last peaceful fandom out there. And the potential third one's got me going, we're going to turn into Star Wars, aren't we? I don't want to turn into Star Wars. Nobody wants to turn into Star Wars. Harry Potter's already done that, and don't walk in that fandom right now. Don't walk into Star Wars either. But don't really want to drift into that territory for us. Will they come back? Will there be a script that all 3 of the Sanderson sister actresses approve of? Because I think that will determine a lot, because they were very involved with how their characters were done with the second one. I hope to God they do the same thing this time, because that was very, 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 very important. It was very important for them to be so involved, because these are their characters. No one else has ever done them. They are theirs. And I love them so much. Like, we're gonna not get on that road right now. I'm trying to stay focused while going off on tangents in the woods. So will there be a script like for all 3 of them to be like, yes, I like this? Or will they have to all get together like they were talking about in the interview one time? They were getting together over Zoom with snacks, and it was almost like a slumber party, which that image just makes me happy. That mental image makes me happy. That's fun. That is wholesome as all heck, and you cannot tell me otherwise. Will the talks of this lead to a script of my liking? Avengers Assemble. Avengers Assemble. Will we get Avengers Assemble? I would love it if we got Avengers Assemble, because Obviously, they want Hannah Waddingham to come back, as they freaking should. But again, I'll touch on her again in a minute. I think Avengers Assemble would be a great idea. And if you haven't watched my Avengers Assemble, you can watch it by clicking on this thing right here. But I'm probably going to throw up the other idea that I had, which is still kind of Avengers Assemble, but with a little bit of separation, like Sarah's the Winter Soldier almost. So, I mean, I don't know, Marvel. I hope that reference was right. We'll see. Never watched the Winter Soldier, but yeah, sure, it makes sense. But you can watch that one by clicking on this thing right here. So, I don't know. I plugged one of them, if not both of them. So, you can watch those. But Avengers Assemble is not a bad idea. Gotta fight Thanos. That's the reason we bring the sisters back, is to help us fight Thanos. Will they help us fight Mother, or will they join her? I don't know. It'd be a fun time. And then, of course, this kind of leads to, with it being in talks, with knowing it being in talks, it's definitely moving. It's not moving quickly, and I don't think it should. We can take our time with this. Think it through. Think it through. When will we get it? How long will it be before 3 comes our way? Will all of these talks lead to a definitive yes, we're getting Hocus Pocus 3? Bette sounding optimistic in her interview leads me to think, yeah, we're leaning more close to a yes answer that we're gonna move forward. But then, will it be a Disney Plus release or a box office release? Here's the thing. With this, they kind of shot themselves in the foot for a box office release. Had they box office released Hocus Pocus 2, it would have been a Marvel/Star Wars opening weekend box office. It would have. It would have probably given Disney execs a stroke at how well it would have done. That said, enough people were disappointed in 2 that I don't know that they would go see a third one should they release it box office instead of streaming. I personally think, since the second one was a Disney Plus original and the first one bombed in the box office because these guys are... you want to hear my whole rant on that? Watch this video. I think it would be smarter for them to do it as another Disney Plus release. I just do. I think it would be smarter. I hate that there are still a lot of people out there who haven't seen the second movie because they can't get Disney Plus to watch the second movie. And then, of course, there's already people on the internet going, don't waste your time on it. It was terrible. Let them form their own opinions. When they can, if they ever can. Put it on Blu-ray for those people so you can decide whether or not, hey, maybe we should do it box office release. I would buy a copy, but I've had people calling at the library before that I work at going, hey, do you have Hocus Pocus 2? I'm really sorry, it's only on Disney Plus, I can't help you. But I think it would be smarter to do it Disney Plus, as much as I hate saying that. For the people who love Hocus Pocus but can't get Disney Plus, I hate saying that. I just think it would be the better option for them. Now, there are 2 last things I really want to address. And it goes back to the Hannah Waddingham thing. Here we go. Hannah Waddingham. Her coming back, yes please. Yes please, yes please, yes please. We need more of Mother. I need to see her interact with them. I would honestly love a joke. And I know this is so mean, but you know she would. You know Mother would say this. If she sees the adult Sandersons, she would look them up and down and go, you got old. Or something like that. She'd be like, geez, you didn't do this quite as right as me. Just some sassy comment from her would be hilarious. Because, yeah, that's the energy she gives off. That's the energy she gives off. But another good thing about her coming back, that gives us our 4th witch, so we don't need a whole unnecessary, stupid, once upon a time-esque twist of suddenly there's a 4th Sanderson sister looking at you sequel novel. Looking at you! And she's gonna save us from that. We don't need a fourth sister. We don't need a fourth Sanderson unless it's me making a cameo, which will never happen. But for the sake of the joke, I said it. So she will save us from that egregious twist, which I think is great. She would give us our fourth witch. Don't need a fourth sister. Hannah would save us. Hannah would be our savior from that. Plus, we really want to see more of her. I want to see more of her. I want to know why she basically effed off and didn't come back for the girls when they got older. What happened? There's too many unanswered questions from the second movie about her that I need answered. But here's the thing. This whole video I have said I am scared about a third movie. I'm scared. I'm very scared. I'm very scared for a reason. Do not Toy Story 4 this. I know, I hear you. There's a lot of you out there going, I liked Toy Story 4. That's great, I'm glad you did. But, in terms of a definitive ending, 3 was better. 3 had the definitive ending. We were done. We didn't need to see what happened after that. It was over. They had a new kid. It was great. Don't Toy Story 4 this and give me an epilogue that nobody asked for. Don't do it. I'm terrified that perfect definitive ending that the Sanderson sisters got in Hocus Pocus 2 will be reversed. And I'm going to regret crying tears on the internet, very heavy tears, when that happened. Because I regretted shedding tears when I saw Toy Story 4. Because I was like, oh, had I known this was coming, I would have saved the waterworks. So, don't do that. If you want to make me approve of this, me personally, this is not exactly a point, but it also is at the same time. Don't Toy Story 4 this, Toy Story 3 this. If you want me to have a definitive ending that rivals what 2 did, I wish you luck. I wish you luck. But here's the thing. Even in an interview, Bette and Kathy were like, I think we're done. SJP, on the other hand, she had watched it with her kids and they went, oh wow, that opened up for more. And she agreed with them. I don't know. I am scared that they're going to Toy Story 4 it, try to give us a replication of the tears that I cried for Toy Story 3 in Toy Story 4 when I was just crying tears of joy that it was over. I'm just like, I pray to God they don't do that. Because 2 did have such a definitive ending for the sisters. They don't have a reason to seek revenge on Salem anymore because Winifred learned her lesson. She knows that power is not the most important thing in the world. It's family. She Fast and the Furious it. It's family. But that was so touching. And it was so perfect. Don't make me regret this. Don't make me regret that. Crying, I did on the internet. I did so much crying on the internet, and I cried a couple times afterwards, and I still cry when I watch it now. So I'm like, I'm scared. Because when you get a good ending like that, like even Billy faded to dust and went away. Seems to be a pretty good indicator that was a good definitive ending. Everything was over. I don't know, guys. I just don't know. I don't know. But Bette has spoken. She has said there are talks happening for Hocus Pocus 3. I don't know if that means exactly talks with her and the other 2, or just talks about it in general. I just know there's talks happening. And they seem to be heading towards the positive. Which again, I'm kind of torn in half. There's a little voice in my head going, this is a bad idea. And then there's the other little voice going, this could be okay. This could be fun. We get to see our sisters again. Be good. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's where we're at right now. Is talks are happening. Bette knows talks are happening. Really feels like she might know something, but I can't know for sure. It looks like positives on the side of Hocus Pocus 3 are coming to fruition, much to the chagrin of the haters of 2, but we don't know anything beyond that. Odds are, it'll probably be next year before we hear anything definitive, so don't go looking for too many updates in the future just yet. You'll probably get a few new articles this week because of the interview and stuff, but that's about it. I would expect it will probably be next year before we hear if there's something, because if they're still in the story phase, they had that strike, they had all of this, like, yeah, that got pulled, the brakes were screeching on that one. So, I don't know. But I do know that that's all I have for you today. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. It's free. It helps me. And what helps me helps you guys get more great content like this. And news updates seem to be on the horizon. And editing Casey is scared. So gaming this week is going to be a little wonky donkey because it is a holiday week. And it just happens to fall on the latter half of the week. So Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be back on Twitch playing more Hogwarts Legacy. We're going to continue. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I know my internet has been really weird. We do think we figured out what was going on because it wasn't just isolated to our house. It was actually a friend of mine's house too. We talked about it today. There was the presidential debate last Thursday, and there was also a big, like, bluegrass festival in our town that people travel from all over to come to, and they were sucking up the bandwidth. It might be better this week, but I'm not going to swear to it. We may have to play through some glitches, but we're going to be back on Wednesday and doing more of that. Thursday is the 4th of July, so for my USA viewers, I expect people will probably be throwing parties, so that's why I decided to move Twitch to the Wednesday instead of the Thursday. And speaking of parties, due to a family one on Saturday, Friday night we will be back here on YouTube with more Winifred Sanderson plays Pokemon Heart Gold Nuzlocke at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. July 6th is also my mom's birthday, so I don't want to have to stream on my mom's birthday. We're also going to be with family. That's why it's going to be on Friday. So there you go. If you're a regular on this channel, please remember to drop a like. Share your thoughts on this kind of cryptic update down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Casey Zogelman, aka the 4th Sanderson sister, and I'll see you witches and wizards later.